Hello, folks. Welcome to BeyondQuality Community Podcast. I'm Vitaly. I'm developer advocate at Case, and I've been doing IT for the last 24 years. And Maryia, Anupam.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Maryia, tell us something about yourself.
My name is Maria. I'm working as a consultant at a company called Regent. I'm based in Stockholm, Sweden. And I like all things test, quality, and care about doing things the right way.
Super cool. Anupam.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm really excited to be together with this community today. And my name is Anupam. I come originally from India, but I live in Berlin now. And I work currently as a freelance test developer or, a test automation architect. So my background is I actually found my way into quality through a rather curious path because my background is in management and I worked as a management consultant for some time. But with time, I noticed that I enjoy programming more than PowerPoint. And then the TLDR is here we are. And, I love everything to do with code. And like Maria said, I like doing it right. And that's probably why I'm in quality engineering.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to say a few words like why we're all here. During my last, I would say, 10 years of management practice, and I've been an engineering manager, a team lead, and consultant for team leads and legal companies, I've seen that pretty much every act of problem solving requires significant research. Like you dig into the context, you try to understand the peculiarities of the problem, you understand the problem, you analyze it, then you gather all the scientific and engineering information related to this problem. And this activity, I've always been doing this activity solo. And then we spoke to Anupam about this. And he said that, yes, he was doing this solo as well, like reading some posts and reading some books and reading some research papers and then coming up with a solution to a certain problem. And then we spoke to Maryia about the same thing. And she said, yes, it's exactly the same. So like we all share this approach to work where we work pretty much solo. And then I realized that when I'm writing articles, I'm doing the same thing. I'm researching something on my own. And when I'm prepping for talks, I'm doing the same thing. I'm researching something on my own. And when I'm experimenting on something, I'm doing it on my own as well. Yes, of course, we talk to people. We go to Reddit, we go to Ministry of Testing, we go to various kinds of communities where we share some information and we ask for some information. But discussing things is not doing things together. I was always a big fan of mob, now it's called ensemble programming and ensemble working. I've even practiced ensemble teaching for a group of juniors like 7 years ago, and it was a huge success. We managed to teach them well within just 2 months, just because we were doing everything together, just one computer doing everything together. And then I learned that there are many studies in pedagogical science about this, that people learn better when they do things together, when they don't read things together, but when they do things together. And this brought me to an idea that maybe, just maybe, we should experiment on building a collaborative community, a place where we can, at any stage of our idea research, share this research and practice it together. When Anupam told me about his experiments with AI and RAG, this retrieval augmented process, I was so interested and excited to jump into that because I've never had an experience of actually testing LLMs. I've never done this. Of course, I've used them a lot, but I've never done it. And I told Anupam, why don't you publish what you're doing now? Why can't we collaborate on that? And so this idea of a collaborative community became a prototype, a community that we've just launched. I, Maryia, and Anupam. I'm very excited of what's going on there. I'm pretty much ready to publish my first narrative literature review research paper on the myth of laziness. And we decided to record a podcast about this idea and why we're doing this. So this is my why. I want to do collaborative problem solving, collaborative research with like-minded people. Anupam.
Yeah, I mean, Vitaly, I mean, a lot of what you said resonates with me as well in terms of, especially if we take a step back, in the tech space, we are constantly discovering new things, constantly discovering, embracing new technology, discovering new ways of doing things. And I feel like in this era of innovation and discovery, the the first principles that we've been using to do discovery and research in terms of using the scientific method is underutilized, right? So that's one of the motivations that, especially in the first principles of the testing as a field, when it comes to quality engineering, are very, very close to how you actually design and execute experiments correctly. And there is a lot to unpack when it comes to designing and executing experiments. It appears easy on the surface, but once you start doing it, you realize that it there is a lot of rigor involved, and the methods are very, very crucial. So that there is that motivation that I have to um, you know uh, uh, perfect my own, or rather improve my own scientific approach when it comes to evaluating my work and evaluating the processes that I build. And secondly, there is the collaborative aspect. Most good science from time immemorial has been done by a set of peers. When it comes to any innovation or discovery, we always see that, I mean, it's attributed usually to one person, but even that person, that even Isaac Newton, in his words, were that if he was able to achieve anything, it was because he was standing on the shoulders of giants. And the shoulder, being part of this community gives you the ability to stand on the shoulders of giants, and that is what makes me so excited to be collaborating with people like Maryia and you, Vitaly. It's a privilege, and I think this community is certainly not restricted to just the three of us, right? Like, we've just started it, but anybody who gets involved right now can collaborate with us and work with us and teach us something and learn from us. And if you join at an early enough stage, you can actually have a big influence on how this community is going to evolve. And that's what I'm super excited about.
Thank you. Maria.
Sure. Well, it has been always my dream to work more closely with scientific approach and uh, to be a little bit of scientist, combine my work, my passion um, that I have in my daily life, and my hobby of reading and summarizing scientific articles, papers, going through all the details and find patterns and share these findings with the community. That's what I find really fascinating. And I really believe that we're stronger when we're doing things together, right? We all have different views, we all have different backgrounds, and that's the best thing about having diversity, about having differing perspectives. Um, and that's why I'm super excited to have this conversation, to create this community, to involve more and more people, to ask questions, to share feedback, to be better with each iteration, to have these dynamics of sharing insights. It's the best thing I know in my life, sharing insights. This moment when I think that's the thing I want to share and discuss. That's the best moments of my life. And I want to share these moments with the community so that more and more people get to experience this, get to feel this. Not only, discuss rough numbers, but the stories behind it. The to find this support of the community, to not feel alone in what you do. That's the biggest thing I kind of expect and expect from the community. And I wish this wish would come true.
It certainly will. Thank you. What you've just said reminds me of Ashby's law, that variety absorbs variety. We now have LLMs capable of shooting a lot of variety at us. But if there is an information asymmetry, so let's say if I never touched LLMs testing for security as you're now researching, or for just RAG as you're, Anupam, researching now, I cannot, if I ask ChatGPT, what do you know about security and AI? I do not know if the answers of ChatGPT, if this variety is good or not. The only way for me to validate if the answers are good or not is to actually dig deeper. And digging alone is extremely hard. We've all been there. We've all read countless books and research papers just to tackle just one problem. And it's so hard. Like the last example, what our friend Patrick brought us in the community on GitHub discussions, he brought us his article on async communication for review. And I realized that I've read, long time ago, a few good research papers, and I've sent it to him, and now he's saying, thanks, that's some good review, good information for him. So in order for us to properly tackle problems, we need more variety in our heads than the variety that the problem has. And we can increase this, our own variety, only by collaborating. This is what really, really fascinates me. Like, I was publishing this research on the myth of laziness. And Anupam, you told me that I overlooked limits to applicability. So I simply forgot that the thesis that I have must be limited to a certain context. And yet, this is like the base of the scientific method. Am I stupid? I'm not sure I'm stupid. I just forgot it. And thanks to Anupam, I'm now adding these limits to applicability to this research paper, making it much, much stronger. We've spoken about science a lot. I believe that your thesis, Anupam, that we're standing on the shoulders of giants, is extremely, extremely important now. When I'm reading Deming or Rakov from 1950s and 1960s and 1970s, I'm like, wow, why aren't we applying those principles which were well-researched, well-experimented upon, well-practiced, and well-proven to be efficient? Why aren't we experimenting on them now, 70 years later? Like, how come I didn't know about this before? And the only way I could learn about this is by someone else pointing it to me. I've never seen university programs studying Akov and Deming. Maybe I just haven't seen good university programs, but I've never seen a program studying good giants that we have in our industry. And that's very sad. And so when you, Anupam, are bringing me Jan LeCun's papers, someone else's papers on LLMs, I'm like, okay, this is something interesting that I have to study, because you went this you followed this path. You can now help me follow your path and be a member in your journey, be a co-tourist in your journey. And that's really cool. And what you said, Maryia, about sharing the insights, I truly share this. I think that best engineers that I've met, they all share this pedagogical passion or andragogical passion, where you want others to learn better, to understand things better. It's like when I watch Feynman's lectures, I'm amazed by this. This person, he's enjoying the every second and every minute of explaining extremely complex concepts to everyone. This is so cool. I love it so much.
Yeah, and I think an important point to be made here, Vitaly, to complement what you said is, firstly, I resonate fully with reading the classics and having these aha moments in terms of, I can give you a concrete example of reading The Psychology of Computer Programming. This is a book by Gerald Weinberg. I think it was written in 69 or 71. And he talks about the principles of egoless programming, which are, which directly played into how you had like that principle following into the Agile Manifesto. It was almost as if when I was reading this book, he's already internalized Agile principles, right? Like that's kind of the way he's speaking already. So it seems like deja vu on the one hand, and it also seems like, hey, we are repeating the same mistakes that these people have been pointing out for decades now, right? So these books are timeless, and it seems like we are also not learning from them as well as we could. That as but one crucial difference. I mean, we've spoken a lot about science and the rigor of research. I think one crucial difference between what academics and scientists do and what how we are working is we're moving from the other direction. We're moving from application back to finding theories behind this application that are more rigorous so that we can apply it to a broader context. But we are always going to be putting application ahead. And this means two things. One is that any bit of research that we do is something that we should be able to directly apply in our day-to-day lives, professional lives. And secondly, this also reduces the barrier for entry into this group and into these research, because every one of us have, we are all working professionals and all our work contexts are different. So we all have valuable valuable learnings to share from having worked in these contexts. And as long as you have a valuable insight, as long as you're ready to put in a little bit of depth and rigor, you can already contribute to the community here. So those are two ways in which we are different from academic institutions or academic research.
Very true. What I also want to say is that in my mind, what we are doing here is very close to the cybernetics principles of fast feedback cycle. So if I have an idea that maybe, let's say, the belief that managers have that people are lazy, which is explained by theory X by Douglas McGregor, maybe this belief might be a self-fulfilling prophecy and a vicious circle of some sort. So managers believe that people are lazy, they introduce more control. With more control, people aren't motivated well enough now. So managers see, they are not motivated, we need more control, they're even lazier now. So like self-fulfilling prophecy of some sort. So this is the thesis. I bring up this thesis to the community, this hypothesis, whatever you call it, this idea, I bring this to the community. Of course, I do some preliminary research. I find some papers, and then I ask the community, what do you folks think about this idea? Can you share your experience? Maybe you've read some giants books, maybe you've read some research papers or something else. What can you tell me about your experience about this topic? And we can then collaborate on it. But the goal for me is to formulate, for me personally, to formulate this topic into an artifact. It can be an article, it can be a talk, it can be a scientific paper if I'm approved when I attempt to publish it, and I even possibly can get my DOI number for this paper if everything goes well. So the result that I want to have is some artifact. The process of getting to this artifact, I want to have a collaborative process. So I ask you all, like, this is the very early stage. Perfect example of shift-left testing, right? I come to you with my ideas, product ideas of some sort, artifact ideas, and I ask you folks, what do you think? Is this idea even viable? Does it make sense? What have you read about this? What have you tried? Share with me. And this is my bit of research on this topic. And the outcome might be, this idea is stupid, it doesn't work, there is no scientific proof behind it, let's just get rid of it. And yet even this result would be a good outcome, because we can then put it on GitHub and share it with other managers or other QA specialists who have this idea or have this hypothesis. So we collaborate early. In the scientific world, usually people create an artifact, create a research paper, publish it for review, and they get review much later. It's like code review of some sort. In our setting, in our community, we publish the idea with some preliminary research, almost like a proof of concept of an idea, of an research. We get good feedback. We can collaborate if people are excited on this particular idea. And then we get an artifact. Like, I love what you, Anupam, posted in the community. Can you tell us about this RAG testing?
Sure. So, when it comes to LLM use, right? We all use LLMs extensively, but I was looking at specific use cases beyond just asking ChatGPT questions about your vacation, right? So, what specific use cases that are relevant to our workplace that where what are these use cases where we can put LLMs to use? And this is where retrieval augmented generation really came to mind. It's a very, very popular use case for LLMs. It's actually fairly well established in this industry that's moving very fast. And what it entails is providing the LLM with some custom data, access to your documentation, some database, and based on this information, you ask the LLM questions, right? So you use the LLM as a conversational interface to documentation or something else which is more abstract. And I think that's a very, very powerful use case. And I've also seen that in the market, there are lots of companies which have started to implement their own RAG models. Any chatbot that you see on most support forums, if there's an LLM behind it, it's mostly using RAG under the hood. In fact, a more accessible a more accessible instance of where RAG is used is if you upload a document to an LLM. If you give ChatGPT a PDF with, say, 30 pages, and then you ask questions to ChatGPT about this PDF, what ChatGPT is doing under the hood is it's breaking this PDF apart and storing it in different pieces, and then it's retrieving that piece of context that is most relevant to your question, and then formulating its response. So that is, in a nutshell, what RAG does. And as a quality engineer, my specific, even more specific area of interest is once you build a RAG model or once you have a RAG model, how do you qualify it? How are you able to say that this is being reliable, right? So taking a step back, finding out what quality attributes are relevant for this, and actually putting a number behind it, putting an evaluation behind your RAG model is what excites me a lot. And just by reading through and researching together with the community, I found that there are actually frameworks and assessments which are slowly becoming standards in this industry, which is a really surprising insight. I didn't know that we were going that far, right? So right now I'm in the process of taking one of these models and evaluating it with a RAG model that I've built, which is very rudimentary, but as a proof of concept, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, this is super cool. And this is where I see the community can shine and will shine and does shine now. Because now I'm so excited to jump in to feed this model with my data, because I have a set of books on psychology. I want to feed those books into the model, and I want to talk to them. I want to build my own benchmark to assess if this RAG model works. But I would never have enough time in my work day to do it on my own. And doing it together is just beautiful.
Yeah,
And that's
indeed.
the same approach with, not the same thing with what Maryia is doing. Maryia had a great talk about security and AI. Can you share us, Maryia?
Yeah, sure. Well, I believe that it's very important to connect science and different regulations to practical applications, and that's why I had this idea of um, doing a research and comparing different types of regulations like NIST and EU AI Act, and compare it to more practical guidelines like OWASP top 10 for LLM applications and so on, and find some similarities, find some differences, to tell what's the real case, what the real life application of all of these regulations and recommendations, and kind of try to connect it to real life. That's where my point is. Because of course we all need to follow different rules and laws and so on, but how are they connected to what we really experience when we do things at work, when we implement AI applications in different forms, whether it's an LLM chatbot or maybe video surveillance system or maybe even more complicated systems. How are they connected? And that's my main goal with the research that I've just started. And of course I did some preview and pre research, and I'm really eager to continue doing this and create something that that helps people out there working on real life projects to apply different guidelines more meaningfully, to know where to focus, what are the tools that we could use to make the system more robust, where to focus to protect users from different types of attacks and misbehaving systems. That's what I'm looking for.
And there are so many of them. I've recently read that there was a first virus in the form of a prompt. So the virus contains a small LLM and a prompt, because antivirus software usually scans for certain patterns within the blob of data that you feed them.
Wow.
And they can't find any bad pattern in an LLM, and they can't find any bad pattern in the prompt. But those two combined can actually become a virus. It was the first virus with an attached LLM. I was so surprised. And how do I even start to learn about this, if not someone like you compile like a good start, where to start learning about this? The information is spread across internet in a strange way. I've found out that Wikipedia can't be always trusted, that it's not misinformation, but it's misguided information sometimes there. LLMs can't be trusted as the source of facts. And it seems to me that only collaborative work can be trusted, because if I'm making a mistake and you, Anupam, tell me that I'm making a mistake, I am going to correct it, not in the form like ChatGPT corrects it, saying, "Oh yeah, I failed. Sorry. Yeah, now it's all better," but in a form that everyone else will see. Because if ChatGPT fails to answer me a certain question, and I tell him to correct himself, he corrects himself, and yet you will not get this correction in his answers. And that's the problem with LLMs, and that's the problem with the abundance of bad advice on the internet as well. So what you are saying, Maryia, that we need, and you are saying, Anupam, as well, we need to connect science to engineering. And I love what you're saying, Anupam, about the problem-based approach. So we have a problem. Like with my research about laziness, I've seen like 20 or maybe 30 engineering managers coming to me and asking me, "Vitaly, why are my engineers so lazy? What can I do to make them work better?" I'm like, "Oh, please stop." And every single time I had this problem, I had to combine all this information and give it to the people. I think if we have it in a form of an easily accessible papers or any other form of artifacts that people can look at, and also add there that the artifact is incomplete. Let's say some engineering manager is not persuaded by the artifacts we prepare about laziness. I would then ask this engineering manager to add why they are not persuaded. What am I lacking in this information? What can I add to this model, artifact, whatever, to make it better. Or maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe his experience shows that I'm completely wrong, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful because it shows that my thesis has more narrow limits to applicability. And this is exactly what you're, Maryia, saying about AI as well. Like if I live in France, I have a certain regulations in France about AI. You live in Stockholm, you have certain, I mean, maybe your regulations are different, but how do I even find out what should I do if I aim to set up my own LLM? I will go and read papers, that's for sure. But is everyone ready and well prepared to read a significant amount of books and papers? Maybe we can help them. Maybe we can combine what we're talking about anyway into an artifact. This is the beauty of the community, that we can together build something which suits many people.
I think the important point is also kind of trying to democratize research, to make it available to everyone, not only to, scientific institutions with a lot of obstacles to get to the point, just to be able to create a scientific paper. Yes, of course, we're maybe not scientists, but we still can do that together if we get together and kind of brainstorm and share our ideas. Then we can produce something meaningful with the connection to practical engineering tasks.
Yes, this is very true. So when I've prepared a draft of a survey in my research on economics of testing. I've prepared a draft on a survey. Anupam reviewed it and commented on it. Very good feedback, thank you. But as soon as we complete our review cycle with Anupam, I'm going to invite a sociologist to review how this survey should be done from the sociological standpoint, so it's valid. Because I have seen countless surveys done really badly in terms of that the results of these surveys cannot be properly analyzed. And there's actually, and so in the community, it's very simple. I just send my pull request or whatever to a person who is who knows sociology really well, and he can or she can then just approve pull request or change something there. This is very, very democratizing, as you're saying, Maryia. We can invite experts in the field with a well-built hypothesis or proof of concept or something. Like you, Anupam, you're doing this RAG research. And I have two friends who are PhD level mathematicians and like experts in this particular field of LLM training and RAG and everything. So now, as soon as you and I, as soon as we, or anyone else if joins, as soon as we test that it kind of works, we can then invite experts in the field. Just give them the link, have a quick call, say, Ivan, can you please help me with this particular thing? I do not understand it. Or am I right in this and this and this? Like if it was just me trying to approach a sociologist without any artifact, like how can I build a survey? Well, it's going to be a lecture for 6 hours, right, on the basis on the basics of sociology, and I will have to pay quite a significant sum to get this done well. With the community, it's much easier, and this democratizing is extremely important for me. So we get our ideas, we collaborate on them to make some artifact. We invite experts, if needed, to help us review these artifacts. And then we either create a talk or a model, like a program, which can be used, or an article or a set of articles or a white paper and try to publish it. It's up to us what to do with this data then. This is so cool. I love it.
But how would we take a step back, Vitaly and Maryia, and talk about the other aspects of our community? I mean, we've spoken a lot about research and the opportunity that it opens up to do rigorous work. But even if we take a step back and explore how we met, like I met Vitaly because of a meetup that he organizes in Berlin, and I spoke at the meetup. And for my talk, it was invaluable to receive Vitaly's regular help in helping me prepare and making this talk a success. So that's how we met, and definitely helping others prepare for talks, even if it's a presentation that you're making at work, even if it's something that you are presenting in a small meetup of about 30 people in your city. That is one thing where we can help, right? And one of our core principles in the community is to help others succeed with care and generosity. And one of the ways in which one of the ways in which we invite people to participate other than research is to either, there three things come to mind. If you want to prepare for a talk or a presentation, you can bounce those ideas off the community, get some feedback, and maybe even get some good stories as examples to include in your talk. The second opportunity would be the same thing, but for article writing. If you want to write an article, you could get good feedback from early drafts. Our friend Patrick has already done this. And, that's one more way in which you can participate. And a third way is, let's just say you're facing any sort of problem at work and you just need other people's experiences to weigh in on how you can solve this problem because they might have encountered something similar in their work lives. There's also an opportunity to simply ask this question and get our feedback on this problem. And although our community is called BeyondQuality, we are not just quality focused professionals here. And as you can see from the list of topics that we've discussed, we talked about RAG, we've talked about, um, you know, we've even talked about management topics such as the myth of laziness is actually a paper on management. So anything to do with tech, the tech industry and the tech professional environment is something that we invite, right? So I just wanted to speak a few words about how are the other ways in which you can get involved in the community other than just research.
Thank you so much. Yes, I was always helping speakers at my meetups to prep. And I see that, again, there is a pattern, a certain pattern that a speaker has some experience, some problems that they have solved, some problems they couldn't solve, some issues and some peculiarities of the context. And all I do in my prep help is I simply help the person formulate it better, let's say, enrich it with the theory, enrich it with whatever, with all the experience they have, and formulate into an artifact, because the talk is an artifact that you present. You have some ideas and some flow, and you present it. A talk is always different from an article. The form is different, right? In an article, we do not usually care that much about the historical biography or stories. Sometimes we put stories in, sometimes we don't. In a talk, you have to engage with the audience, so the form is very different. And yet the content is pretty much the same. So recently, an engineer from JetBrains came to me and said, I want to present, but I don't know the topic. I don't know what to present about. And I'm asking this person, Vlad, how many years have you worked as a QA professional? 12. Okay, I am sure you have something to present about. And so this is an early feedback, the earliest feedback possible that I could get to a speaker, that I know that he has topics. Now, what is the method for the person to extract, to put the topics out of his head? Well, first, speak about the experience. Speak about the most painful problems or most painful projects or failed projects or painful but succeeded projects. And he provides a diversity of topics. This process can be well done within the community as well. So any person can come and say, I'm a QA professional with 10 years of experience. I've done this and that. I think my good topic could be about this project, which failed or which succeeded. How do I even start? And if we see that many people ask this question, we can create an intro, like a manual, how to start. This is the beauty, that if things are done in public, if speakers prep is done in public, if article prep is done in public, we can see recurring patterns. And we can help people then just follow these recurring patterns. And this is beautiful.
I totally agree, and I find it very that there is always this pattern of how to start. The hardest part is how to
Yeah.
start, how to get going.
Mm.
And the thing is, usually at work, it's not that easy to find a professional that has this experience,
Mhm.
because there are not that many people who speak on meetups, and especially on international stage and so on. And I kind of want to create this open space to 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 make it easier to get going, to start creating articles, talks, whatever, to amplify our networks and connect experienced professionals with novices who have the potential, the will, and who want to start this journey. I think that's the best thing about the community, because there is no borders, there are no restrictions. You can ask anything you want, and you will get help. That's the main idea.
You know, once it was fun. I was helping women tech makers back in St. Petersburg ages ago. Intel, I think it was Intel's program. The program focused on actually helping women to start presenting on stage. And some of the women there, they were junior developers or junior QAs. And I had a bet that they were saying, we don't have anything to talk about. And I had a bet that within 2 hours of our group discussion, I will help you find topics. And we did so. For the participants, all of them found topics to present about. Maybe these topics won't fit into an international conference, but they will be perfect for a meetup. And that's a great start when you're just starting. Because I was telling them that you are already junior developers. You are much ahead of those who aren't. You can share so much with those who aren't. And you can share your experience to your team leads. What was bad, what was good, what is hard to learn, what is easier to learn, what is your onboarding program like? Is it efficient or not? So much to talk about. And when you have 5, 10, 20 years of experience, it's like you can be speaking for a year straight and still not exhaust all the topics you have. So yes, this is again a democratizing spirit and democratizing place where you can say, I don't know how to start, and Maryya's guide, which she's just started, will help you. And I will add, and I will ask my partner, who is a theatrical coach, to maybe add something there as well, because people sometimes are afraid of stage, and this problem can be solved as well. And again, sometimes I feel that we stand on the shoulders of giants, because acting coaching was there for millennia, I think, and people were afraid of stage, and people got onto the stage and presented really well. So yeah, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, and the thing about the lack of topics is very exciting, because I've met managers with 20 years of experience asking me like, "Oh, I don't have anything to tell." I mean, come on, you have 20 years of experience. You have to say something for sure. We can just together try to reveal what's your core beliefs, what are your what is your motivation at work, what's your best things that you believe in. And I think that's really exciting that we will try to help people doing this and make it public, because it then will um create more space to connect people, the right people, to the right mentees and eventual speakers and writers and authors,
And I
whatever.
and I and I already have meetups. I organize meetups regularly in Berlin. I will be organizing more meetups across Europe next year. So I hope to get back to Stockholm. I am getting back this November to Amsterdam. So I already have a place for people to showcase what they did in our community. So if you're a person who is interested in presenting, but never were on stage, and you're afraid or you're not sure that your topic is interesting, come to us, show us what you have. We will help you reveal and uncover what you have, give feedback, help you prep. It will all be done publicly, and this is a great addition to your CV, always a great addition to your CV.
Yeah, and I think while our community is primarily online and while we are primarily discussing on our GitHub page, the intention is that the discussions there also help people come together in synchronous manners, whether it's online, like we're doing this recording of this podcast, or even in person, right? Like during our meetups. And I think even when we were discussing that paper on RAG, that's where we were doing this synchronously on a call, Vitaly, and that's where you pointed me to assessments in RAGs, and I said, "Hey, there is actually an assessment framework." That motivated me to dig deeper into the assessment. So a lot of the magic happens synchronously, and I think what we are looking for here, or what we are aiming for, is a good mix between asynchronous discussions that are happening on our forum, as well as synchronous conversations that we are having.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if someone is collaborating, if two people are collaborating, and they know it's going to be more efficient for them to sit together on a call and do something, well, why not? If they then just post what they agreed on what they experimented on, and this artifact is for the help of others, then it's perfect. Because again, our motto or our ethics is to make things public, to collaborate, so that everyone can benefit. So it's not only I and Anupam collaborating on something and then just putting it in a blog post, but everyone can see and everyone can jump in.
That's right.
And
So,
maybe in the future we can have physical meetings. Who knows? Who knows? Like, I mean, I do organize meetups. Maybe we can organize something if there is a strong community in Berlin. Maybe we can meet up.
Let's see where it ends up. I really, really hope that it will
Yeah.
turn into something very powerful.
Me too.
yeah,
And I'm really,
we
really
also
happy with
said-
that.
sorry.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Whitley. So I was just saying that the community, when we got started, right? Like we had a certain intention, but we didn't have absolute clarity in where it's going. And in fact, it's evolving as we speak, right? Like it's taking on a certain shape and a certain form of its own, which in certain ways are unanticipated, and that's what makes it exciting. Even the process of growing this community is a process of discovery.
Yes, and this is the beauty of GitHub as well as the platform. I thought that it would take us serious time to find a good blogging platform, CMS or something, but apparently GitHub suits this just perfectly well. So we have discussions where we can do everything and even agree on calls. And it doesn't matter which tools we use to make calls, right? I mean, everyone can use whatever they want. We have discussions. As the result of discussion, it might be a talk, an artifact, an article, an artifact. If you, Anupam, when you, Anupam, are doing this research on RAG, of course it will turn out to be a few blog posts on your blog. Of course, it's your blog, it's your research, and you put it on your blog. I will try to publish my paper in some scientific journals. If I'm successful, I'll be proud of it. Maryia, I think, will follow this route with AI and security as well. And again, it's up to the author to decide what to do with the artifact. But the mere process of getting to this artifact, of collaborating together to get to this artifact, is really, really exciting for me. Because I wanted to see, like when I'm reading Dummy, I so deeply want to understand how he came up to this conclusion. Like, what was the pain that he was suffering that led him to unravel this, to discuss this, to discover this, to research this, to practice it? Like, how did he even fight the bureaucracy problem in his organization? Like, he tells us what it should be like, and he proves that it's better. But I would love to see how he researched that. That would be so cool, because then I could borrow his method of thinking. This is extremely important.
Mhm. So, we've spoken a lot about the community and what we're doing here. So, how can people get involved?
Yes, very easy. You all have GitHub account, I'm sure. I mean, everyone who listens to this must have a GitHub account, I think. And so you just go to beyondquality.org website. There is a good link, big link to GitHub. And you go to this GitHub, you see artifacts and you see discussions. You can jump in to the discussion, you can start research discussion, you can start general discussion, whatever you want, and come up with an idea, ask for feedback, or ask for critics, or ask for more information on the topic, or ask if everyone else thinks that this topic is good. Get help and collaborate with others, because you can see discussions there. And if you go there, you can pick any and collaborate if you want. If you're excited about Anupam's research, well, jump in. If you're excited about Maryya's research, jump in. If you have something to say or criticize in my research, I'm really welcoming. Our ethics is that we want to be generous to others, to help others, and we want to do things together.
Right, and there is no limit to what's enough to kind of get involved, right? Even if you want to just highlight something, that's perfectly good. If you want to just put a like or make a comment, you're welcome. And we're really open to any sort of feedback and support, and everyone is welcome.
Yeah, and of course we want the feedback to be at least somewhat constructive. So if someone is doing research and is asking for feedback, if you just say it doesn't work, I would suggest you add at least some information what you mean by doesn't work. It might be a story. You can say, in my experience, this didn't work. This is the context, why and how it didn't work. This will always be beneficial to pretty much any research or any experiment. If you try to run certain, like if when Anupam prepares this information on how to run LLM with RAG on your own machine, and you say it doesn't work, well, give us the log, right? I mean, this you're gonna do at work all the time anyway, right? I mean, no one will accept a comment from a tester saying it doesn't work on my machine. People will expect some more information, but that's just general politeness, I would.
Yeah, and here I would expect to kind of get communication somehow self-going or self-regulating when people are voting for what matters most for them and what sounds like more non-constructive. And that's
Yeah,
the big
I do
here as
believe
well.
I do believe we are grown-ups. I've seen many companies where people act as if they are immature. I do not believe that this is their innate trait. I believe that this is a spoiled garden of some sort, where there were like others could not tell them to stop. Others did not tell them that this is not tolerated. I believe that if people are treated as grown-ups, they will act more as grown-ups. I even see it with my daughter. So when she was 9 or 7 or even earlier, I always treated her as a grown-up. And she was able to act more as a grown-up, even in quite hard situations like she was overly tired and she was hysterical and she was telling me, I know, Daddy, you told me that if I was tired, I would be hysterical. And like this was a good discussion between two grown-ups. I'm sure that we as professionals can be much more productive than just saying this is stupid or you're stupid. And of course, we don't tolerate ad hominem. I think none of the communities can tolerate when people attack each other. That's just general politeness. And yeah, so we want to record this podcast every month. We want to take 1 or 2 or 3 topics or researchers or activities which are going on in the community and review them. With this current episode, I think we pretty much are done in terms of time because it's almost 1 hour. I would suggest that next time we decide in advance publicly what topics to choose, and then we can just discuss them really, really properly, because this episode was more like an introduction to our beautiful community. What do you think?
Yeah, and here's your chance, here's the chance for everyone to influence our choice. Let's get started. You're welcome. Come to the community and choose the topic that you want us to talk about next time.
And participate.
Sure.
Yeah. And so we are really excited about where this is going, and we want you to get involved. So, we've called out now, and the community page is available. It'll be linked to this podcast for sure. On the community page, each of our individual profiles are there as well. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, please reach out to us. And, and we are looking forward to your participation, and we are looking forward to see what you can build and how you can take this community forward.
Thank you. And we are really lucky that we have time to participate in that. I am supported by my company. Anupam is a freelancer now. Maryia will be supported by her company. This is beautiful. I would call it proper developer advocacy, where we are supported by ourselves, in your case, Anupam, or our companies, to do the community-related stuff, to help people. This is very beautiful. I hope that people will feel our joy, and we can help you, and you can help us. We can help each other. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And see you in a month. Thank you, folks.